Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast. Girls of the world, welcome on and back again, once again, to the Sports Buffoon Studios here out of Lenexa, Kansas, of course. And we got the full clan with us today. Believe it or not, it's pretty crazy that the three of us once again at this table. First time in a while, and on a weird day, on a Thursday at 6 p.m. So we are throwing off the algorithm in some kind of way to see what happens, I guess. No, we had other life events going on, and so now here we are trying to push out this content on a great opening NFL Combine week out there. So anyways, guys, what you been doing, man? What you up to? How you doing?
I literally just before the show started, I cracked open a can of whoop ass or whatever the hell you call this stuff. And it literally looks like I just pissed in my pants. Like,
oh, wow.
I cracked it open and I got my pants all wet.
That's really nice, man.
Other than that, man, it's been great, man.
It's a good Thursday right there. What you, Tanner?
Well, you know, Jason, they always say only the cool kids pee the pants.
Yeah.
Only the cool kids.
No. Before, by the way.
I'm sure you have. Nah, just working, man. Just working and watching college basketball. Getting ready for combine events that I haven't seen yet today.
Been gambling a lot too. I've been making a little bit of money on video poker of all things.
Player props.
We're doing bubble craps. We're doing bubble craps this weekend, so we're gonna make some money.
All right, so we got bubble craps, you got sports bets going on,
video poker,
all that good stuff. So there's all kinds of random shenanigans. It sounds like
you got to get rich somehow.
I guess,
or die, or you can die trying. I guess is what Notorious Big said.
I think when it comes to most of the gambling you're referring to, you'd probably die trying. Most of those cases in that one. So maybe you get one of those lucky $5 15 leg parlays out there. Well, it's like a lottery ticket, right?
Yeah, you just got to figure out how to be an AP, man. The APs know what they're doing, so it just takes a little bit of study time.
Yeah, that's for dang sure. Yeah, I've been following a little bit of this combine today. I had a busy day myself, but got to see all the measurables come out on all the defensive linemen and linebackers today. They also ran the 40. Tomorrow we're going to see more. We still have running backs and receivers and all them to come out and run and get in all of their basically it's a fitness test in a lot of ways. But I enjoy it, man. I enjoy the NFL Combine. It's something I've looked forward to every year since I was a kid, basically. And there was no major surprises to me. I think we did see Ruben Bain had really, really short arms, and so did Cassius Howe.
T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
T-Rex style.
So people on the radio were calling him Baby Arms Bain. So that's a rough look right there. And then Cassius Howe, I didn't realize his arms were also that short as well. He had the shortest actually out of everybody, even more so than Ruben Bain's were. So, but my guy David Bailey out there, we haven't talked about him yet. We're going to break him down on a later day, but he ended up with 34 and a half inch arms, 4 inches longer than Ruben Bain's actually. So,
I have short arms. I turned out okay.
Well,
I'm productive in society.
When you get to this level of athleticism, the size does matter, and so that is for sure. So
that is what she said. I will give you that. That is what she said.
Yeah, some good stuff. Though. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the week and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, we got a few players, of course, I wanted to talk about though, because as you guys know, I said 2 weeks ago we're going to break down at least 3 players every show. And guys that are potentially on the Chiefs' radar that would be good fits, or guys who people talk about that I'm actually not a fan of. But in today's situation, I actually like all 3 of these guys. So as you guys see them there in the title, Caleb Downs, Makai Lemon, and Emmett Johnson all would bring something very unique to the Chiefs team without a doubt. So Tanner, should we go with Caleb Downs first?
I think we should do Caleb Downs first, man.
All right, sounds good to me. Yeah, he might be actually the best safety prospect since Jamal Adams, in my opinion. Now his size is more similar to Eric Berry, of course, but some guys say out there he might be the most well-rounded, flawless player in this draft. As a matter of fact, just because he doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses. He doesn't have areas you can look at and pinpoint and say, oh gosh, he really needs to work on this or that. He's got great speed. He's got good size, hits like a damn truck, and coverage ability is fantastic.
Can we get a breakdown of Caleb Downs' school, where he played, height, weight, all that good stuff yet?
Yeah, let's do that. He is right at 6 feet 205, which is basically the same size Eric Berry was when he was going pro. And he's from Ohio State. And guys, he's one of those versatile safeties that can play in the box up close. He can play in the nickel, play on the back end deep. But it's just kind of a hybrid. He'll do everything. I saw him play outside corner. And these are all things that we saw with Eric Berry back in the day, too. The versatility to be able to line up everywhere and anywhere and making stops at the line of scrimmage frequently. He's been known to do that. Great tackler. One of the best tackling safeties I've ever seen. And then just instincts, man. Instincts off the charts. He has not ran the 40 yet at the combine. That'll be a couple of days from now. And that's where we'll little bit more about his actual numbers as far as that goes. I think he's probably in the 4.4 range, if I had to guess. He also returned a punt for a touchdown at one point in his career, making some guys miss. And so he's got some long speed. We've seen that.
Where do you break these guys down by film as well, on top of their stats and attributes? Where do you think he fits well at? Well, what does he do well? Is it a blitz down the quarterback? Is it like a Big Duffy style? Or are we looking at somebody that maybe has great coverage in the end?
Everything around the line of scrimmage, he does well. So I've seen him go out there. He knocks down tight ends. I mean, with the best of them, always taking out running backs, and just he can blitz really well, and just has terrific instincts. Is really what I pick up on the most. And I get why some people say he might be the most well-rounded prospect, because there aren't many flaws to look at or to pinpoint and say, oh gosh, this could be a problem. So for me, it's like, we've seen him make plays. We've seen him be a playmaker on the ball with interceptions. Seen him force many incomplete passes around the line of scrimmage, bat balls down as well. If he realizes even on a blitz that he's not going to make it, he does a good job getting his hands in the air. He's just consistent. And so that's what I give him as far as that goes. And so to me, it's almost like too easy of a player to talk about, because you don't have a whole lot of negatives to even bring up. I mean, some of the negatives I've seen from other people is just size isn't elite enough. I mean, that's what the best they could come up with. Like, the guy's 6 foot 205. I mean, that's really good size for a safety. And then I guess one other scout might have mentioned he might not have as great long speed or pure deep third lockdown, like cover 3 style of safety play. But even that's like a stretch. I mean, that's still a stretch. So, I mean, for me, here's what I want to think about, though, when I think about Caleb Downs, is like, what a safety, say at number 9 overall, be worth when you realize that what the Chiefs are missing right now on defense, which is defense. We need defensive line help. We need to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. Is a safety going to be a guy that's really worth it, number 9 overall?
Well, the unknown of Brian Cook, right, returning. Like, we don't know if he's going to if he's going to resign or not at this point. So that position is going to be open, obviously, at this point here. Jason, I'm curious what you found on Caleb Downs here on your notes here.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he's obviously he's got great athleticism. I think he's a great communicator in the secondary, which is what you want. You want to have a leader who can sort of be the quarterback of your defense, and so he communicates well. I would say if for some reason he is there at number 9 for the Chiefs, I mean, at some point you have to take the best player available. And Mike and I talked about this off air. He's probably not going to be there, but if he is, I don't know, man. I think the Chiefs have to take him because he's going to be the best player available at that spot.
Yeah, and just a couple of stats to throw out. He had over 250 tackles, also over 15 tackles for loss, and 5 interceptions over 3 seasons. And just like I said, anything around the line of scrimmage, the guy was just destroying.
You got to remember, too, right? This guy knows the success of winning, knows the success of losing there in Ohio State, the Ohio State Buckeyes there, playing against big games in Michigan, big games with Indiana, big games in the college football playoffs here. Like, this is the kind of guy, a competitor with those kind of stats, that kind of body. Like, that is the potential there in the first round, right? And especially for a position at need where we ain't the youngest by any far. Like, Brian Cook was starter, but you had Bush behind him. You had a couple other older guys right in the mix there. And you had Shamari Connor kind of playing that versatile role in the nickel on top of it, which he has his own flaws on top of it. So, like, where that's the thing to look for within the Chiefs and looking at drafting is where does this guy plug in? It almost right now, if he don't resign Brian Cook, he plugs into a starter role almost immediately.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you take a safety in the top 10, he's going to be one of your starters without a doubt. And it's unfortunate that Jaden Hicks has not gotten the playing time that we wish he would have this past season. In fact, it was reduced, it seemed like, in a lot of ways to me, compared to what it should have been at from the year before. And a lot of that apparently is because he's not quite coming along up to speed with the scheme. And so right now the team, apparently, they're more comfortable with throwing Shamari Connor around out there than Jaden Hicks, which I'll never understand that. It's a different topic for a different day. So I mean, that's one thing to think about. We will have Jaden Hicks and free agencies around the corner. There's another safety out there that I think could be available for the Chiefs. And it's one of those positions that people look at and say, is it? It's like a running back, Is it really a good value position to take top 10? Most of the time, the answer.
It's like we talk about Love right there, Notre Dame. Is this a right pick at this point? And like, again, any of these picks, we got to remember too, draft wise, like they can do all the research in the world. We can do all the research in the world. And these guys just complete stink. Go see Trent Richardson, for God's sake. So, but if you're looking at just what you can know and what you know right now, like, where does this guy stand? Jason, I'm curious on yours too. Caleb Downs. What's more important to you? A guy that can go around coverage a little bit towards the line, kind of be that, mixed linebacker / safety guy that can blitz, or is it more of a coverage guy you're looking for in this defense here?
A little bit of both, obviously, but I would like to see a guy who can be versatile like he is, and obviously I'd be more on the coverage side because we obviously need that right now. My question to you guys would be, do we really think that I just don't see this as a Brett Veach pick? If he's there, he just doesn't strike me as the type of guy that Brett Veach would pick. And here's why. Because we all know, everybody knows in the world that we need an edge. We need an edge. And all the fans are in love with Jeremiah Love. So that being said, do you really think that Brett Veach would have the balls to make a pick like this, or would he let him fall? I think he would let him fall. He doesn't seem like a Brett Veach guy to me.
Yeah, I guess it'd be up to Spags. Spags would have to really talk him into it and say, like, hey, if Bailey's gone, if whoever else is gone that's on his list, if Downs is there, he's got to be my guy. But of course, then you're talking about who do you go side with? What Spagnuolo wants, or what Eric Bieniemy wants, or what Andy Reid wants. You know what I mean? So
guys you want to could just go with what Patrick Mahomes wants too. You can do that. That didn't turn out well last time.
We tried that once and it wasn't great. So
I don't know, man. Beach here, I could see him letting it drop. I really could.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't seem like
gold in your lap and just letting it go like that. And
we've done that before.
We've seen that plenty of times there, and that's a good question, man.
You got a good pound of gold sitting right there in your lap, and you're not going to take it.
Well, I'll just tell you guys, I mean, I think he's going to go before the Chiefs pick anyways.
Right.
But with that said, if he's there, and if for whatever reason David Bailey's there as well, I would have to go with the pass rusher in that situation. And Bailey, by the way, had a great combine up to this point, showed up with great measurables as we expected, and then ran a 4.5. So, I mean, those are really, really respectable numbers there. But I still need to get some more free time to watch the rest of what's going on with the combine. We got a slamming Sammy Joe. When we get the opportunity to get a blue chip player again, there's only 2 this draft, and if they were in valuable positions, we wouldn't even get them at 9. So that's what he thinks about that.
Yeah. What does he mean by that? What's your take? How does he mean by that? Blue chip players. Like starter, all-star, superstar right away kind of guys?
He's saying there's only 2 in this draft, which I'm guessing he means Jeremiah Love would be one because he's pretty much a guarantee to be great in this league is what we're expecting. And then Caleb Downs is flawless, as we discussed. So
Sammy, weren't you the one too that was really high on the Clemson guy we talked about last show?
He did. I think he brought up Peter Woods, which we did talk
bring up
about
Peter
him
Woods.
2
We
weeks
brought him
ago.
up last show, and I think you talked about. I don't know if he's in your blue chip players or not. I'd be curious who your two are in the blue chip players.
If Sammy missed our previous show, we talked about Peter Woods in that one, and I was not quite as favorable as I was hoping I would be on Peter Woods. So, but anyways, let's jump over to our next guy on the list. And like I said, all three of these today I do like, as a matter of fact, for different reasons. And next one I want to talk about is Emmett Johnson, running back from Nebraska. So this guy's going to be a really, really interesting prospect to see where he lands. He's going to be kind of a system fit guy, but he's going to be, I think, very, very versatile wherever he ends up at the end of the day. So, yeah, he's talking about love and downs on as far as blue chips, which I agree with that. Those two guys, to me, are without a doubt, like they're going to be home run hits either way.
Wasn't it interesting though that like Love, there was some weird stat like Love hadn't played against like amount of competition that anybody else had. Like it was some kind of down on Love.
I don't know, because his yards per carry when facing light boxes is 9.1 yards per carry this past year. So I mean, that's insane.
When I find it, Mike, I'll tweet it back to you. There was an X tweet out there that was talking about it, and like there's something about Love that, like, sure, his numbers look great, he looks great, but there was something about his competition level. So when I find it, I'll send it to you. You can go find Mike at KC Rockaholic.
KC Rockaholic, yep.
And how do you spell the Rockaholic?
I thought it's normally on my screen, I guess, but just
not today.
KC_Rockaholic.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll find that and I'll tweet it there. Same as Sammy if you want to check it out.
Yeah, and just to throw this out here for a future show, we'll be talking about Caleb Banks, which he is my number one D tackle prospect. But we'll save that for a different day. Anyways, let's get to Emmett Johnson for a few. And I know a lot of guys in KC are a fan of him as well, being a Nebraska guy. So a lot of us.
He played in Arrowhead, man. He played Arrowhead week 0 and for Cincinnati. Cincinnati home game in Arrowhead. Of course, they're going to be fans of him.
So he's coming in at 5'11", 200 pounds. I didn't see the exact combine numbers for him yet on what he ended up at. So I'll have to check into that at a different time. But man, the way I see the guy is just insane productivity and shiftiness. Probably the most elusive and best vision of any back in this draft, other than Jeremiah Love. Which even then, I would say the shiftiness and vision is right up there, close to Jeremiah Love at that level.
So far of what you've seen, he's the shiftiest and elusive, or like just like you think he's in general probably the best guy?
Out of the running backs that I've spent time on to this point, yeah, I think he is. Other than Jeremiah Love, I think he's probably the shiftiest and forces the most missed tackles just in open space of any other back. And always at least working to fight through contact. He's a guy that's legs are always turning. And he's not the biggest guy in the world, but I mean, he's going to be an elite receiving option at the next level. I don't know that he's fantastic yet in pass protection, but that's something that, it takes time with a lot of guys to get to that point. But I mean, if we're trying to find a guy, say we don't get Travis Etienne in free agency, we need to have a receiving back, then this guy's a fantastic fit to come in and take care of that role. And he's probably going to go in the third round. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for Emmett Johnson. But yeah, his vision is elite. I think the number one thing that I saw out of him that maybe could be an issue is long speed. But the Chiefs haven't had a run over 30 yards in forever. So it's like, why do we even care about long speed? We just want you to, see a hole and hit it finally and not run up the offensive lineman's ass like Isaiah Pacheco's done for the last 2 years. And so for me, it's nice to see a guy that has elite vision like that and able to create great plays in open space. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think between the tackles is something that could be questioned about Emmett Johnson, because most of the times I've seen him play, everything is bounced outside with him. Everything's about him immediately looking to get outside as quick as possible. But at the same time, if that's the hole he's seeing with his vision, and he's got the speed enough in the quick area to do it, then so be it. Take your shot and bounce it outside and pick up your 7 to 10 yards. But he did average 5.8 yards this past season, and some people have questioned his yards per carry, just because it's what some would consider average for a college player.
But do they see like the competition level Nebraska played this year? Nebraska played some good teams. And they kept a lot of games close. Like, don't give their record the judgment it needs to be. They kept a lot of games close. There was a lot on the running back that came into the game. Like, we can blame, talk about the quarterback all we want, Dylan, but the running game was the one that kept them in these games and helped them get over that hump a couple times.
Yeah, he actually, I believe he led the. Let's see. Let me find the stat I had put down here. So he ended up with 250 rushes for over 1,450 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns on top of 46 catches for 370 yards. So 1,800 all-purpose and 15 touchdowns, which led all Big Ten running backs in receptions and earned Big Ten Running Back of the Year and first team All Big Ten, and was among the leaders in rushing and scrimmage yards, of course. So
he was Sammy has it right, by the way. Nebraska did play better teams than Texas Tech. I love it. Good call. Jason, what do you got, man? What do you got on this guy?
I like the fact that he's got fast twitch, man. That's the one thing I love about him. Very twitchy, explosive burst. And he's a patient runner with great vision, a la a guy maybe like a Le'Veon Bell. He's not, like Mike was saying, he's not a guy who's just going to run into the offensive lineman in front of him. But yeah, I mean, I like this guy. And when we were talking about this off air, the first thing that came to my mind was, can we draft a guy like Emmett Johnson in the third round, if you're the Chiefs, and then you're able to pass on Jeremiah Love, bring in a guy like a Breece Hall or a Travis Etienne to pair with Emmett Johnson, and then all of a sudden you're in a position where you can draft your edge rusher in the first round. And I really like the thought of doing something like that.
Yeah, because I've told you guys too, I think the Chiefs need to get 2 running backs this offseason, not just one. And so I think having a rookie as well as a veteran would be ideal way to go about it. And Emmett Johnson, to me, is not an every down back. I just want to put that out there. I think he's a guy that comes in and should get 12 touches a game and should be an option, like a McKinnon was for us at times in the receiving game. And I think he'll be a threat. He'll be a guy that everyone gets excited about because we know he's got some big playability.
Not to put you on the spot, who would he best pair with for a Chiefs, for a vet experience, right? So vet to him, who would best pair with this guy on a Chiefs roster?
Yeah, so I like versatility when it comes to running backs in a group. And so for me, ETN is more similar to Emmett Johnson. And it would be kind of strange to have 2 backs that do the same things. Although the ETN is actually better in pass protection and just has more experience, but they're actually very similar players as far as what they do well. So, yeah, I mean, Breece Hall would be a better fit, I think, because you got the bigger body in there that can probably go inside a little more and run between the tackles, between, up Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. So, what are the other options? What are the other running back options in free agency? I'd have to look at the list, I guess.
Yeah, we'd have to look here. Right? Breece Hall, I know, is out there and stuff like that, but they're supposedly out there.
Those are the top 2, at least. Those are the only 2 that people care about.
Yeah, there's some other guys out there I'd have to look into.
But I have heard that Breece Hall might be a little bit more expensive than ETN, but
it also sounds like the Jets are planning on finding a way to keep him.
They're going to probably franchise tag or something like that on him.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you consider him at all with the power style running back at all, where it's down the middle, like a Kareem Hunt, for instance, where it's just like we're going up the freaking middle. We're going to get 4 yards, but we're going up the middle.
I don't really see Emmett Johnson being that kind of player. Emmett Johnson to me is going to.
Would he pair with like a Kareem Hunt style?
I mean, yeah, of course.
I've heard that coming into play too, of keeping Kareem Hunt around.
If we're in a 1 yard situation and say at the goal line or whatever, I'm not necessarily going to trust Emmett Johnson to get the job done on that. I haven't seen enough out of him to say he's that kind of guy. But yeah, I mean, Kareem Hunt is unfortunately just getting a little old, and he's so goddamn slow that I don't want to see a whole lot of Kareem Hunt. He's a very situational based running back to me, where if it is 3rd and inches, okay, give it to Kareem Hunt. He could probably get that inch. But Kareem Hunt to me is a situational short yardage back, and I don't care for that anymore. I'm kind of over it, and I want to have a couple guys that can do, a variety of things well, not just one trick ponies, So, anyways, that's my thought on that one. And then of course he brought up Brashard Smith over there, and I just want to keep it realistic for a second. Rashard Smith is still a converted receiver to a running back who has a lot to learn and figure out how to grow. And we have not seen enough out of him to really know what his true upside is yet as a running back. And I'm not going to sit here and like have high hopes for another 7th round running back to pan out for this team and be great. When I know for a fact Emmett Johnson has the experience and the skill set as a running back to be a really big time weapon in the league. So that'd be my thoughts on that one. But anyways, he's one of my guys on my list as a running back that I think I would be very excited to see in the case of uniform. So, all right, we got one more before we jump over to a different topic.
What was his other comment?
We got one more.
Johnson, Smith.
Two
versatile guys.
Yeah, and that might not be the worst thing, but like I said, I think we need 2 new running backs on the team, which to me means Kareem Hunt would have to go. Yeah. I just think there's other younger backs in this league.
Kareem Hunt's just too long in the tooth, man, and that's kind of my overall theme in the history of the show. I'm always going to say that, but I think he is past his primes.
Why not? It's like, why not bring Kareem Hunt back for one more year, get signed Tyreek Hill, and call it a 2019 reunion?
Then the whole staff is getting fired after that.
And Sammy brought up Jeremiah Love moving up or whatever to 7 if you had to. But if we drafted Jeremiah Love, he's going to be meant to be an every down back. Like he's going to be your guy.
I don't know if I can get behind
Bijan Robinson at that point.
Like already taking a running back at 9 is already high for me, like a tough pick for me. But then you trade up and go get him. Like that's even.
Oh, that'd be weird.
That's Clyde. That's Clyde style to me. Like I would not do that. There's no way. I would be upset about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't care for that either. Even though I do like Jeremiah Love a lot. I think he's an awesome prospect. Yeah. But all right. So anyways, let's move along. And I mentioned this guy a couple weeks ago too. But Makai Lemon, wide receiver from USC. Another guy that's we've talked about tall receivers a couple weeks ago, Tanner. The couple tall receivers, Carnell Tate was one of them. And so Makai Lemon coming in and looks like 5'11". I'm waiting to see the official report on the numbers on that. Haven't seen it quite yet. And 195 pounds was his measurables at USC, which you might look at and you say, okay, in today's league, is that kind of size going to be something we care about anymore? When this team, it feels like all we've had for a long time is 5'11", 190-pound guys, right? You know, it's going to feel like a little bit of just beating a dead horse with the same size.
Speed.
Sure. And Makai Lemon, funny enough, I mean, he's fast, but he's not like super crazy speed. He's probably a 4.4 type of guy, and we'll see that at the combine. But I think what makes him special is what he can do with the ball in his hand just after the catch. And he's got a good low center of gravity to his body, which is something I always look at when it comes to receivers. He reminds me a little bit of like if Golden Tate was better, what this guy could do as far as that same kind of size. But he's built more like actually that got those thicker legs like a running back would have, which just he breaks tackles. The guy is probably the best in the nation at yards after catch just from breaking tackles. Doesn't go down easily. Great hands. And the route running was fantastic. I mean, the guy is always open. Anything under 5 yards, the guy does separation is just off the charts with this guy, and he makes the big catches down the field too. For 5'11", he can go up and make a play with the ball in the air as well. So, a lot of big, good quality football from this guy. When I watch him, my only thing I think about is this is a football player. This guy's meant to play football. Where you have some guys like Chris Conley I've talked about in the past who, 6'3", 210 pounds, and run a 4.3. But he's not meant to play football. He doesn't have that ability. Not this guy.
The guy I mentioned like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was brought up for a minute. Yeah.
If I'm not in front of my stuff, so I don't have my notes from him. But yes, he has some impressive numbers that came into play for USC there.
Oh yeah, I mean, let me see what numbers he had here. So this was his junior year, by the way. Finished up with 79 catches, 1,156 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Also had 4 rushes with 2 more touchdowns to add on in the running game. So the way I kind of see this guy and the way he would fit in the NFL is probably in the slot. I don't see him necessarily being the outside guy receiver or the X receiver, I should say. I think he's going to be a guy who motions a lot in the slot. Is just always going to be a mismatch. Anytime you get him on a safety or a linebacker in any kind of way, he's going to beat him every time. And like I said, he doesn't go down easy. So he would be a guy that the Chiefs love to run these screen passes to receivers all day. He would fit really well. And, we're thinking about the future of this team. I don't know that Rashid Rice is going to be here that much longer. So he would be a good fit, at least for a year, with the current roster we have. So I'm a Makai Lemon fan. Is he worth it at number 9 overall? I don't know. That is a tough question to answer, because some people think he could be somewhere in the 20s or the teens. I don't know.
See, last I saw that he was like an early second round pick when I looked at him.
He's not going to be a second round pick.
You think he'd be first for sure?
I think he's going to be a first rounder, probably in the early 20s.
Could be thinking of another guy. Again, I'm obviously with the Buffoons here, so I don't have my set up and my notes on me.
Where's your damn draft board? You didn't bring that in your pocket?
Bring that either, man. Didn't bring that either, man.
Yeah, I think one good comparison I saw, I brought up Golden Tate a second ago, but I think Amon-Ra St. Brown would be a great comparison for the kind of player that Makai Lemon is going to be in the pros, which, by the way, USC, I mean, they've put out some great receivers over the years. And so we could talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. It makes sense why they'd be in the same kind of breed.
Correct.
That's a good question. Would you take Amon-Ra St. Brown with the number 9 overall pick?
Well, depends on who else is there, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Good question. So that's the way I would look at it anyway.
Jason, what do you got, man? What's your notes?
I've heard that he's the toughest receiver in the draft, so I like that. They also say he's got very strong hands. That's what she said. Yeah. And I just like the fact that he's got good lateral agility and cuts. So, I mean, I think he could be a superstar, but I don't see, again, like we talked about, it just doesn't seem like a Brett Veach pick to me at number 9, because that would be kind of a reach, and I think it would be frowned upon by a lot of people. And I think Brett Veach just needs to make the easy pick here.
Yeah, I think the thing with Lemon to me is it's a very high floor. Like, you're going to get a really good player out of this pick. I can guarantee you will. But I don't know what the ceiling is. I don't know what the ceiling is for Makai Lemon. And I feel like whenever you're picking in the top 10, everyone you look at, you want to have a high ceiling. You're trying to reach that, superstar status type of player. And I don't know that he's going to be that. I can't promise that right now. He might be more like Hines Ward was, whenever he played with the Steelers. Which I don't know that Hines Ward was ever like a superstar, but he was a really, really good receiver for a long time.
It wouldn't be a wasted pick if that's what
correct. It would not be a wasted pick, and it would not be a failed pick. I can promise you that. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on Makai Lemon. A couple of the weaknesses some people were talking about is that he does lack a little bit of that elite top speed, which to me is a little bit nitpicky. And then the size, only being 5'11", 195. And then something he could be very scheme dependent. But I think any smart offensive mind that we have in the league will get good use out of him. So, anyways, I think he's going to go in the 20s. So the Chiefs have to trade back, in my opinion, to make that move. A number 9 overall, I would just be shocked. But we'll see what the combine shows. We got to see, what all the results are going to come out at the combine whenever guys, put in the fitness test and see what the numbers come out to be. He's going to have one of the best short shuttles of the draft.
Yeah. Just a couple things to keep on your mind, Mike, too, as we go through combine. Just got a text from my guy, Jay, from the Rec Room Sports Hub. Both Ohio State linebackers, ran a 4.47 just now. So we'll have to take a look at those two guys and see what we can bring to that table there. So,
yeah.
Potential with Drew Tranquil possibly on the cut list there could be a thing. Who knows with Chenal? I think Chenal's still a free agent right now, hasn't been re-signed.
And who knows with Jeffrey Bossa? We didn't play him all year long, so we don't really know who we have there yet.
Right now it's just Think Bolton, I think. So,
yeah, we'll see how it plays out. The Reach has a lot of work on his hands to get things figured out, and still got to get under the cap. So still got to worry about that too.
Yeah, we have the Danik cut, right? So Mike Danik got cut, and we'll see what happens with Taylor, and we'll see what happens with some other guys there. Mahomes restructured, and Chris Jones could restructure. So still a lot to play, man. Still a lot to play here in this offseason before the draft. So free agency.
Yep. So next time we get on here, I'm going to try to come up with a couple guys that I maybe don't like as much that are maybe overhyped in my opinion, and we'll talk about them.
Didn't you do that last week?
With one of them.
Yeah.
One of them.
Same with Sammy.
Sammy has gonna have to go back and rewatch the Peter Woods topic we had. So, but anyways, we'll talk about Caleb Banks a different show, and then we can see how we feel about my top D tackle prospect. My only problem with Caleb Banks, just real quick, he's 24 years old, so already a little overaged, of course. But the way I see it, like, okay, you're going to get a 5-year contract, being a first-round pick. So we'll have you till you're 29 at that point. I mean, you might get one more contract, before you're about done. So it kind of sucks for the player, but I mean, we might get the best years out of that.
Does it though? The NIL
these
days?
Well, no, he already made money. Yeah, we already know he made money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, does it suck for the player? Not really.
Yeah, he already made his money. He made some money anyway. But yeah, when I think about that, I'm like, well, if you're 24 years old, I think his adjustment to the NFL will be very quick, and it's not going to be like a long, figuring out time period. And so I think you're going to have him in year 2 be, probably a top 5 D tackle if he's going to pan out the way I think he could. So, anyways, we'll save that for a different day, a different week. So, yeah. So, what was that last comment he said there? Oh, Styles. Yeah. We might talk about Styles at some point, but anyways, those are the 3 I got for this week. Tanner's gonna have to come up with a couple in a couple weeks with somebody else too. But anyways, man, I'm ready to. Once we get off of here, I'm gonna look at the combine stats and then go to bed. But what else we got to talk about today?
Well, we've been shorting you guys for a long time now in the NBA because it's boring until you get past the All-Star break and Valentine's Day, all that stuff. So now all of a sudden it's not quite as boring as it used to be. So we're gonna play a little game here, and we're gonna have a little in-season tournament, and I want to know who you guys think is gonna win. We'll call it the mid-season post-Valentine's Day tournament. So I'm gonna give you 6 teams here, and I want you to make your case as to who would win the championship right now. Which, you can build that argument in a very similar way that you would build who's going to win the championship at the end of the year. But we're just having fun right now. So I'm going to give you 6 teams here. I'm going to give you 3 in the East, 3 in the West. And we're going to go through each one of these teams. And you just tell me who you think would win.
Are we going to be able to break this up to like who's in the finals between the 2 and then like them?
No, we don't have time for that, bro.
Oh,
we don't have time for that, bro. But I will give you is the fact that OKC gets the first round bye in the West. Detroit Pistons get the first round bye in the East. So that would leave Boston versus the Cavs in the first round. And then San Antonio versus Denver in the first round. We're not going to go line by line here, okay? We don't have time for that. But let's just go through each one of these teams. I want to know who you guys just build your case for them winning this hypothetical tournament that we're talking about that starts right now. And I'm going to kick it off with the reigning defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, who are, as of right now, they're 1-3 versus the Spurs. They've been injured a lot this year. They've been banged up, but as of right now, they're getting healthy at the right time. So Shea is coming back. Jalen Williams has been out. Hartenstein's been out. You can make the case that, well, maybe they weren't really that badly injured. Maybe it was just load management. It doesn't matter. So does anybody think OKC would win this tournament? And tell me why.
Yeah. Why not? Do you see the depth they have? They still have complete depth, and they haven't even played all their players with injuries. It's amazing. Like, yeah, sure, Chet's been kind of underwhelming from a point standpoint as of late. A lot of unders I've won from him on his points, but this guy is like, still that team is so complete. Even without SGA, they're still going deep in the things here. So, like with SGA coming out finally, and or damn near March. He comes back tomorrow, so damn near March. Like, yeah, OKC has full potential to win this freaking championship.
Yeah, I like OKC as well in this. I mean, there's a few teams obviously that I'm a fan of watching these days, and I would say the Spurs are up there with me. OKC with the SGA is probably the top dog, but I'm telling you right now, I know you think they suck, Jason, but I think the Nuggets are still a great team.
I do not think they suck.
I'm just going to tell you right now.
I do not think they suck.
They have what I consider to be the best player in basketball, which is Jokic.
He probably is.
And so to me, if you have the best player in basketball, you give yourself a chance every time. And they actually have a decent roster around him. You've had some injuries this year. I want to make that known. But you have a healthy Jamal Murray, and you have Aaron Gordon. He's been injured a lot, but when he's healthy, whenever the time comes, when the playoffs roll around, good things can happen. Bruce Brown has played great, and then of course Cam Johnson, one of my old sons, he's maturing. He's come a long ways, but he's doing a good job. But I think that's just a good team all the way around and well-rounded in a lot of ways. So, and they put up a huge number last week, like what was it, 156 points or 158 points or whatever it was. They could have scored more, but they had to call off the dogs.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's my thoughts on that one.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and talk about Denver now, since we're kind of on that subject. But no, I think OKC should be the favorite right now. They're the reigning champs. They haven't had any catastrophic injuries. I would say being 1-3 against the Spurs is alarming at the very least. But I think they deserve to be the favorite in this tournament. But you brought up Denver, so we'll go to them next. What do you guys think about the fact that Aaron Gordon's only played 23 games this year? He's got a bum hamstring. I know, Mike, you already talked about their depth, which is amazing right now. Jamal Murray has actually he's been a stud this year. This is one of the best seasons that we've seen from Jamal Murray. And then obviously Jokic is always going to do what he does. Tanner, what's your take on Denver? I mean, Mike thinks I hate them. I think Denver's freaking amazing, dude. I just don't think I think if you put them against any of the three teams in the East that we're going to talk about, I could make the case that Denver would beat all three of them. But we're not playing the East, we're playing the West. So Tanner, what's your thoughts on Denver?
I think Denver can compete with the West, man. I really do. Joker had his first big serious incident, his injury, right, recently. He's come back here. Pretty sure the other night, maybe it was last week or some point, but he already had almost a triple-double in the first half. Like, this guy's insane. Like,
he came out of the game though before he would have had it.
He would have
had it. He came out to take a breather.
Yeah, yeah. So this guy, I mean, he plays ball so hard, and I think too from Denver, if anybody can be close to matching OKC's depth, it's Denver. It really is. And Denver has that kind of bench mentality where they know how to win, they know how to do stuff. And they get a guy that all he's worried about is getting through the NBA season, getting paid, winning a trophy, and go back to his horses. So, like Denver, to me, man, that's a close one too for OKC and Denver, in my opinion, technically. So
yeah, I just want to say don't count them out. That's all.
Yeah, I think if you got into a situation where the Spurs played Denver in a series, I mean, if we're just talking about straight up experience. Yeah, I know this. The Spurs have De'Aaron Fox, who has a lot of playoff experience, but outside of that, Denver would be, have an extreme advantage there in terms of their experience. Obviously, already won a championship with that group. So, but yeah, I mean, I love Denver, man. They're never gonna be that team that rolls over. They're always going to be an extreme threat. So, let's just temporarily switch over to the East here for a moment. Who do you want to talk about first, Tanner? You got the three teams right there.
I'll let you pick, man. Who do you want to talk about first?
Let's pop up the Cavs, man. Let's pop up the Cavs.
Yeah. All right. So, big trade. Obviously, we talked about that earlier. James Harden so far since he's joined the Cavs has developed this pass first mentality. He's getting easy buckets for Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Mobley, I think, was not playing very well earlier in the year. And in fact, he's only averaging like 12 points a game this past month. So Mobley's had a rough go of it, but I think the idea here is that you bring in James Harden for experience. He's going to get those guys easy buckets. He's also he's going to score. You pair him with Donovan Mitchell, and I do like the experience factor here. This team is they've got some guys that can score. They got guys that can rebound, play defense. I think it's a well-rounded team, and I think that the Cavs were kind of that team when we talked about this last year. They're kind of what last year the Cavs are what the Pistons are right now, which is a very inexperienced team. Well, now all of a sudden the Cavs have a lot more experience because they bring in James Harden. My problem personally with the Cavs is that, Harden is great. He's going to make the team better in the regular season, but we all know that James Harden does what he does. The deeper and deeper you get into the playoffs, he turns into James Larden instead of James Harden. So that would be my issue there. That would be my case for them not winning the championship or this tournament that we're talking about, because they're not going to be the best team out of these 6 teams by far. But I think they did the right. I actually didn't like the trade initially, but now that I've seen what Harden's doing, I think, they're going to have a great record by the end of the season. They're probably be the number 1, 2, or 3 seed. But again, James Harden has never been that guy in the playoffs, and so that's my problem with the Cavs right now.
I think we look at the Cavs here, right? You talk about James Harden. When James Harden got to the Nets initially, right, he was an assist machine, ended up falling apart because they wanted points, and then Larden came along, right? So the Clippers came into play, or Houston first, but skip Houston again for the second time. Who are the Clippers? Again, assist machine, man. Leonard and Paul George there. Like this is what he does best. He assists at a high level. Like his assists are insane. And he can pull off those 24-point games, 30-point games when he wants to, but he doesn't want to majority of the time. And you got to remember too, last year in the playoffs with the Clippers, I believe it was last year, maybe it was I don't think the year before, but there was an injury, right? And Harden had to step up into that next role, right? To be that second guy, first guy. I think Leonard went out. It was George or Leonard, one of the two went out. And Harden couldn't do it. He couldn't step up. Well, now you're with the Cavs. And sure, you got Mobley, you got, Allen, you got a bunch of guys there. But can you be that number 2 guy? That's the problem I'm looking at here.
He has no other choice. He has no other choice.
Correct.
Donovan Mitchell is going to take the last shot in the game.
Correct. Can
matter
Harden, though, support and be that number 2 guy? I don't think so. I don't think he can. Like, he can assist all he wants, but when it comes for him to have to do what he needs to do, be the superstar that he's trying to be at the strip clubs, he can't do it. He can't do it. It's over, man. The Cavs, for me, have potential. So much potential, but it falls short on the roster moves that were made, and it falls short when it comes time because of not just because of Harden, just because of what the Cavs are in general right now with their leadership. So, to me, the Cavs do not win the title. They come close. They have a great regular season. They compete somewhat in the playoffs, but it's not enough for them to overcome in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harden at this stage of his career, as old as he is, he's got to have the self-awareness to say, okay, I'm not the 1A. Maybe I'm the 1B, but I don't even think if you're going to win a title,
He's a 1C, man.
No, you can't go into the big dance or the big tournament, play for a championship, and thinking that you're the 1B at his advanced age. And so he just needs to take a look in the mirror, have some self-awareness and just defer, man. And if he does that, that's what's going to give them the best chance. What do you think about the Cavs, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, just to real quick hit on your Harden thing. It reminds me a little bit. Obviously, they're very different players, but a guy who just retired recently, with Chris Paul, it's like you kind of knew what you were going to get out of him, no matter where he was at, no matter where he played. It was the same damn result, and I feel that same way about James Harden, where to me it's a name that mattered at one point in his career that no longer should be relevant to us in a lot of ways. I mean, there's so many other better younger players now in this league that. To me, Harden is what he is. We already know what he is, and it's just I don't think that he does anything for the Cavs to like put them over the top or to be better than what Boston or Detroit can do right now. And the Cavs, to me, what was it, a year or two ago? They had the best defense in the league, and that's not quite the case anymore. There's other teams in this league now, and especially in the East, that I think can just destroy them at times. So, yeah, for me, it's. You got Boston and Detroit is an easy pick right there, and then the Knicks, of course, as well. I mean, we can talk about the Knicks. So, but those are my top teams in the East.
Yeah, and Boston is interesting situation, and we'll actually move. We'll talk about Boston right now, but I do think that the Cavs have a legitimate shot to win the East. They have no shot to win the championship, but I could see them going to the finals. And it's because of what Boston is dealing with right now, and the fact that they're going to have a decision to make because allegedly Jason Tatum is close to returning. He has the option to come back if he wants to. I listened to an interview with Jason Tatum, and he sounded like he was a little bit scared to come back because he didn't want to throw off the team chemistry. And I actually agree with him on that. Like, that's a real thing. Like, when you're playing as well as Boston is right now, obviously they're 5.5 back of the Pistons, but Jaylen Brown is just playing like an absolute monster. And he is a superstar. Like, he's the alpha on that team. He is 1A. And I think if Jason Tatum did come back at this point, he would be 1B. And we've never seen those guys play together like that before. Jason Tatum was always the 1A. And so team chemistry is a huge thing for me. And I don't know if he's going to come back or if he's going to just say, hey, I'll sit out till next year. But I mean, if you're getting paid, man, they're going to bring him back and he's going to start getting minutes. And I just think it's going to throw a wrench into the entire situation because you got Peyton Pritchard on the team he's fully capable of hitting game-winning three-pointers. And this team's firing on all cylinders. They brought in Nikola Vucevic at the trade deadline. And so they're playing extremely well. And I mean, what's that going to look like?
Yeah,
that's the question
really
that goes through my mind.
Say we can't use our best player historically, over the last 5 years because we're worried about the chemistry of the team at the moment. Like, is that player who we know is a great quality player really going to hinder the team? Like, that would be surprise me more than anything else, I guess.
I don't think he's going to hinder the team, but I think that when you get into a championship situation, I always come back to like the Miami Heat when they first put LeBron with Chris Bosh and D Wade that first year. They were freaking unbelievable. But did they win the championship? No, they lost. And so, yeah, Jason Tatum coming back, I mean, that'll be freaking amazing, dude. But I just think that the one thing that you need when you make it to the finals, you've got to be firing on all cylinders, especially if you're going to go against some of these teams in the West. Even if you have to go up against Denver again. I don't know, man. I don't like the situation. And obviously, if Tatum would have been healthy, like, I would give you a completely different answer. But that just doesn't get it done for me. And I could see, I would love to watch, the Cavs play against Boston. We might see that series this year. And, that would be a coin toss if you want to know the truth. I know I've talked a lot of trash on James Harden over the years, but I think that would be a very interesting coin flip situation if those two teams played against each other. Tanner, what do you got on Boston?
Do you think they would have a shot?
I do. I really do. They've gone this far without Tatum already. Tatum coming back could be a big thing. We'll have to see how Tatum looks. Hopefully, he's not rushing himself back from the injury. So that'd be the most important thing to look at here. But I think from a standpoint going against the East that it is, I think Boston gives themselves a fair shot. Even if Tatum waits a couple more weeks and comes towards, let's say April, right? Let's say April timeframe. Great time. Finish out the season. Let's say you get a 3 seed. That's a perfect spot for you. Perfect spot for you. Because it's only climb up from there. So yes, I do give Boston a shot more than I do to give the Cavs because of that potential of a guy that makes the impact that Mike was talking about coming back, being the guy that learned from Kobe, being the guy that's learned from a lot of superstars coming to play, and Jaylen Brown playing the level he is huge. It's huge for this team. So yes, I do give the Cavs a chance on the East side, and I could see them winning.
Who would you have? We got to talk about the Pistons real quick, and maybe I should talk about them first. But between the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavs, who do you think would win that series
If it was like the Eastern Conference title.
I think the Celtics would. I think the Celtics would pull it out.
Yeah,
Better presence, know what they're doing, and know how to get it done.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. To me, we'll touch on the Pistons here real quick. Obviously, they're the number 1 seed. I think the big question for most of the year was who's the number 2 scorer on this team. And because, Jalen Duren, he's only averaging about 18 points per game on the season. But in the last 2 weeks, he's averaging 26 points and 14 rebounds. So he's turned into an absolute monster over the last 2 weeks. My argument against the Pistons would be just they remind me of the Cavs of last year, just the lack of experience. And the talent is there, but I will say that Cade Cunningham, when he played against the Spurs a few days ago, he was 5 of 26. And I know that's a bad situation, right? Because we're pairing all these, I feel like they're inferior teams in the East, and we're trying to match them up against these teams in the West. Cade Cunningham, he didn't have a clue against the Spurs in that game a few days ago. And so they ain't winning no freaking championship, boys. And if you guys want to make a case for them to win the East, I'm willing to listen to you. But I just don't see it just because a lack of experience. And by the way, Cade Cunningham may very well win the MVP award this year. I don't care. They're not going to win shit in terms of championships. So, you guys got any thoughts on the Pistons?
On paper, they got the win last year. They got a great defense, right? So things are falling in their favor. But I think when you look at the way the NBA is structured, it always feels like it's about the teams who have experience. I don't know. We have teams with with experience when it comes to the playoffs that seem to prevail more often than not. And not taking it away from Detroit the last few years, but I would just say that between what the West has to offer and what the East currently has, and what the Celtics are all about, then I don't know that the Pistons are going to be the team that can get it all done. Is all.
The Detroit Pistons basketball team. Don't care.
Yeah, not sure what happened to our picture. Hopefully you guys can still hear us, but you should be. Nope. You guys are officially off the screen. Hang on. I'm working on buffoon style here, guys. So we have buffoon style right here. Here we go. So, look, Pistons here, though. That's the thing we got to talk about, right? Cade Cunningham, potential. He was third favorite at MVP on the list right now because of a week ago. And who knows if SGA or Joker end up finishing out enough games to be able to be the MVP, right? So you can't quite count out. I won't quite count out the Pistons for potential here because of what you do have with Cunningham in that team where they've come a long ways, right? They've come a far ways. So I wouldn't quite get to that part, but at the same time, I don't think they win it, man. I don't.
I can tell you this right now, as a Spurs fan, I would give anything to see a rematch of the 2005 NBA Finals this year against that team, against Wemby. I mean, that'd be like in 2005. That was like a 7-game series. If that, it's not going to happen, guys. Barring catastrophic injuries on the Celtics or the Cavs, it's not going to freaking happen. But I'd give anything to see that because that would be a sweep.
Nah,
I'm telling you right now, the Pistons
would get
get
swept
by Wemby and
Spurs. So, right quick, we'll touch on the Spurs.
I don't really have a whole lot to say here. I'm gonna leave it to you guys. But they are 3-1 against OKC. They're not afraid of the Thunder. They're not afraid of really anyone in the league. I think Denver obviously would put up a good fight against them, but obviously there's something wrong with the Thunder when they play against the Spurs. So, just you guys give me your quick thoughts. I will tell you before you give me your opinions on this, the Spurs they have a 72% winning percentage when Wemby is playing in the game. When he doesn't play in the game, they have a 71% winning percentage. So my argument to you is that they actually don't need him. But if he's on the floor, you probably don't have much of a chance, except for the Nuggets. Because like I said, and Mike knows this, and he said this, and I agree with him, like right now, the Joker is probably the best player in the league right now. So like Mike, I'll let you go first, Mike, because you need to talk more about the Joker.
I can't
And
even.
what would your thought process be, if they're playing against the Spurs, and it'd be a great matchup,
I can't
Be a great
even
matchup.
think straight right now with not having our normal cameras. So.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like you've got the Joker against Wemby, you got De'Aaron Fox against Jamal Murray. I mean, that's a match made in heaven if we get to see that matchup.
No, I would like to see it, of course, but I will just say that you might say it's a 71 to 72% winning percentage, but whenever you're in the playoffs and you're facing off against the best of the best teams, you're going to need to have Wembanyama without a doubt in that game. And so you might be able to get by in regular season and win some games without him, but when you face against the quality opponents, like even the Pistons, say that was to happen, you need to have your guy in there. But yeah, obviously Jokic and all of that. I think Denver would take that series if for some reason Wembanyama wasn't there. But
So
I
do
mean,
you think the Spurs are too young? Is that would that be your point there? Because
that's part of it.
okay.
That's part of it. I think they're a little too young to go against with the best of what the West has to offer right now, and they're close. They're close though.
Honest to God, dude, as a Spurs fan, I thought before this season started, I was like, oh, they're way too young. Besides De'Aaron Fox, they're way too young. They're not ready, and that could still be true. But no, I like the point that you made there. But at the end of the day, their talent might just be too extreme to the point where it's not too early for them to start winning championships.
Yeah, maybe so. I also think OKC had their growing pains as well. Even though it was a quality team and SGA, obviously we already knew he was going to be a superstar. But they still needed time as well, to get to the point that they're at now. And so Spurs are in that same boat, but they're really, really close. So
Honestly, like after all this, I do think that Denver matches up much better with the Spurs. I think OKC has a matchup problem with the Spurs, and so who knows, man? That might be the West Finals, Denver versus San Antonio. So, final question, and we're gonna wrap it up. I've got the Spurs winning our hypothetical tournament that starts right now. If it starts right now, what's your team?
Denver.
Denver?
wow. I'm gonna go Denver.
Denver. Okay.
I'm kind of a Denver homer.
So
Right
we
now.
got two guys that say the Nuggets are gonna win the championship, and one guy that says the Spurs. Nobody's rolling with OKC. Nobody's rolling with any of the Eastern Conference teams, that's the way I like to keep it around here. I don't care about the East since Michael Jordan retired. So
I don't know. It could be OKC, but I just like Denver and what they can do. I just think their upside is off the charts with what they can do. So
I just like the fact that the West is still dominating right now, man. ever since Michael Jordan retired, the West has dominated everything, and I want to keep it that way. So, good talk, gentlemen.
All right.
I appreciate your input on that, and yeah, go Spurs, go.
All right. We have any final thoughts before we wrap it up here?
I've got
I'll talk Jayhawk, baby.
Yeah, to all of you idiots out there, that like to tailgate people and not have 7 car lengths behind the car in front of you when you're on the highway, you might want to start taking driving lessons because you don't have a freaking clue how to drive. 7 car lengths, people. Don't freaking tailgate people in front of you. It's embarrassing. Seriously.
Yeah. I took a defensive driver's course and everything. So it's all stuff that you should learn at some point. And just don't be an idiot. Basically.
Yeah, and by the way, we all assume that you're drunk. So you're going to look like an idiot either way, whether you wreck somebody or whether you don't.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that's all I got. So, I mean, I'm gonna go look at some combine stuff and look at what all the numbers were showing, and look at this Styles 40-yard dash from Ohio State, and that'll be my night. And then I gotta be up at 3 a.m. So
You're going to do that, and then we're all going to the casino on Saturday morning to
well, that's the plan.
try to make another couple grand.
Yeah.
So that's what we.
Well,
typically
I
make.
saw. I showed you guys. You can make 2,500 on Saturday.
Yeah,
Within
make
15
$1,000.
15 minutes, you can make 2,500 on
Yeah.
$100.
So
it's
it's
possible.
easy money. That's why we have our easy money bet segment all these years, man. That's where that came from.
This is a typical buffoon moment too with this camera. So here I'm glad we got to have one buffoon moment at least. So, anyways, guys, that's all I got to say about that. So, I guess with all that said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Outro.
See you guys.